that every single day you sell yourself, your point of view, your value, your product, your service. And if you look and sound the same as everybody else, you have no advantage. But when you learn to use the right words in a more effective manner, you gain the competitive edge. And perhaps in your own business, you're not proficient right now, or as proficient as you'd like to be, in communication, in handling sales appointments, in sitting one-on-one with your clients. Just like me, you can develop these skills if you put the time and the energy into it. So it's important for us to understand how we can learn and integrate this information. So the first thing is impact. And today is a wonderful environment, but you're not always going to have an environment like this, where you've got engaging speakers, you've got great people around you, fantastic facilities, everything's organized. Sometimes it's just going to be you alone at home sitting with a book. But you need to make sure that that information has impact on you. Now, have you ever noticed that the things that you're naturally interested in are easier for you to remember? Would you also agree that as a business person, as a well-rounded business person, there are going to be times when you are going to have to retain information that you naturally aren't interested in? Would you agree with that? So how do we do that? You create impact by psyching yourself up, getting yourself into the mood. And what works for me is by vividly imagining the results and the outcomes that I'm going to have. And what kind of person will I be with this skill set? What's the knock-on effect for my business going to be? When I understand the benefits, all of a sudden I'm a lot more motivated to learn. Does that make sense? The second is as important as the first, because it's like if you were to sow seeds into a field. The seeds are sown, but if you don't do the second one, it's like the birds have come and eaten the seed. It's as if it was never there. And that is repetition. Repetition is the mother of all learning. So one of the challenges I have is if I read a book, I enjoy the book, I struggle to reread it. I have to physically force myself. But if we don't repeat the information, we're never going to remember it. So whatever it is that you learn, whether it's the principles that we'll discuss about personal branding, whether it's about the finance aspect of your business, whether it's about sales, communication, whatever it is, unless you actually intentionally repeat that information, you will not retain it. And then the third one, the greatest law of possession is this: if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So, as quickly as you can, tomorrow morning, this afternoon even, take something that you learned here today and start using it. We've heard people talk about time management as an example. Go home today and start setting your calendar, put those meetings and appointments into your diary. If it's about social media, go and change your social media profile, write yourself a bio, start using that information now. What I've also found works really well in helping you to actually integrate and internalize the information into your own life is this: you can't apply everything at once, right? It's one step at a time, line upon line, precept upon precept. So, take something and master it. And when you've done that, learn something else and master that. When you become really skilled at that, you don't have to think about it anymore. You've now got the capacity to take even more information in. But when you think about it, you really only have two tools with which to create your life and your business. And when you consider that you have two tools, it's both humbling and encouraging. It's humbling because when you recognize what these tools are, you are also often faced with the fact that we don't put enough emphasis on developing these tools, given how important they are. But it's encouraging because if you start to focus intentionally on developing these two tools, you will see dramatic increase in success. The first tool is your mind. Your mind is a muscle. Did you know that you've got the ability to change the way that your brain works? It's amazing. And I don't know about you, but I'd like to be a lot smarter. So I'm working on that. Your brain is what allows you to reason, to remember, to discern and to decide. And as entrepreneurs, you know that being able to make quality decisions is vital to growing a successful business. Would you agree with that? But there's something else, that your mind determines your outlook. The way you think determines how you see the world. And this is very important, especially as it relates to sales and personal branding, because you know what? People like to be associated with winners, with successful people. The 5 closest people in my life are all people that I respect and who are positive. Now that doesn't mean they live in la-la land where nothing ever goes wrong. Okay? That doesn't mean that if I call them up and I'm having a bad day, they tell me it's not important. Quite the contrary, but what they do is they hold the challenges of life in the right perspective. And you know a funny thing? All 5 of those people are incredibly successful. Not only that, people want to be associated with them. Who do you think are the first people that get called when there's a challenge that comes up? Do you want to call negative Ned who's going to tell you how bad it is and why you should close your doors? Or do you want to call somebody who's positive and encouraging and give you real valuable insight? Does that make sense? But when you start in a positive space every single morning, every single day, maintaining the same enthusiasm for life, that's contagious.